Welcome to Goldfish on Games, where in 1989 one company dared ask the important question, did the world need another breakout clone? And the answer was obviously yes, so Hitsoft developed... I said it developed... Well, it went under its human name of Krypton Egg. Here we have a very battered copy for the Atari ST, which featured the barcode branding, which must have been the brainchild of the marketing team, as it doesn't show up in-game at all. The back of the box is also the only place you'll find the plot laid out, which is an amazing bit of writing and translation. N-Class intergalactic battlecruiser, the Krypton Imperial, was heading out of the planet Richie Y at 150,000 clicks, and was about to quit orbit when the galactic nebula ripped through the cosmos. The whole of space shuddered to the mega explosion. Black monoliths suddenly filled the view screens, followed by the primary alien attack waves. The Imperial's experienced pilots coolly toggled their combat maneuver mode, swerving the heavy ship around to face the enemy. The proton cannons quickly locked onto their targets and began to spit out their deadly plasma eggs. No fancy game intro here, just the title screen with a very sudden bit of music. On the Amiga at least. There isn't even a mention of this plot in the manual. Well, I'm not sure you can call a double-sided bit of A3 paper a manual, but there you go. But it did highlight a feature that I had only just learnt about after almost 30 years. But we'll talk about that a little later. The version I played came as part of this huge box of budget re-release games for the Amiga, and I actually got that with my Amiga 500 Plus back in the day. After the more subdued title music of the Atari but an equally as colourful main menu, you're quickly in game and yep, at first glance, this is your typical breakout clone. You have your bat at the bottom of the screen, which supports an Atari logo in both the Amiga and ST versions of the game. There are bricks you have to clear and ones that you can't break at all, and then you have your ball. But very quickly you'll notice things are a little different. For a start, there's all these aliens floating about that will deflect the ball, and one of which is very dangerous if you let it touch you. There's also power-ups. A ton of power-ups. And balls. Lots and lots and lots of balls. There's small ones, big ones, green ones, red ones, fast ones, slow ones. There's many balls here. And what's the end result of all these balls? Well, it can result in your bat growing or even becoming a little sticky. But not all of these power-ups are good. Some will actually shrink you down, darken the screen, or even stop the bat from moving at all. But if you're lucky, you might pick up some of the more interesting ones, such as the one that allows you to move freely around the screen. Or you might get the chance to shoot one of two different styles of bullets, which will make your game significantly easier. And on the subject of shooting, after every 10 levels of a total of 60, you'll face off against the alien, as the game takes on a sideways view where you have to shoot at the alien head. That's right, this game turns into a bit of a shoot 'em up. And it actually continues to show off the impressive number of sprites this game can throw around, by seemingly having the number of bullets that you can fire only being limited to how fast you can mash that mouse button. Oh, and this thing is deadly, as if you lose to it, that's an instant game over. Doesn't matter how many lives you have. Oh, and did I mention that there's no saving or passwords? If you want to beat this game, it has to be done in a single sitting. This, coupled with some of the more interesting brick types and very colourful backgrounds, means you can have quite the challenge on your hands, as some of the bricks will take multiple hits to break, but it does have this really nice effect on it to show you how far through it you are. On top of that, you'll also have teleporters that you'll need to keep an eye out for, or the bricks that will vanish and then return after a short while. Thankfully, these don't count as bricks that you have to destroy to complete the level, but they are used for some very tricky level designs. The game had a surprisingly long life, as in the mid-90s it got ports to DOS and Windows with updated artwork. It then got ported again in 2008 to XP and various PDAs, and amazingly the website is actually still active, though all the links to get the game, whether it be the demo or the full title, just leads you to a dead page on .mu's site, where they don't seem to even want to recognise the game at all. Which is a bit of a pity, as it would have been a great way to experience this game today if these links were still active, as the only other way you would have been able to play the game was when they ported it to iOS, as they had versions for both the iPhone as well as the iPod, and I get the feeling that these days it's probably not going to be on the store anymore, though I have no way of checking. Now, way back at the beginning I mentioned that there was a feature that I had no idea about back in the day, and that was a full editor. You can find this program if you open up the disk on one of the classic OS's Gem or Workbench. But make sure that you take a copy of the disk before you do any work, or at a minimum make sure you have a copy of the levels.tab file backed up. With the editor loaded, you'll first get this screen that allows you to select the type of brick you want from a very long list. Once the brick is selected, you can then change screen to then start making your masterpiece. The placing of power-ups is done via the brick selection screen. Just select one of the checkerboard items and then select the type of power-up you want from the second list. But I hope you can read French better than I can, or you'll have absolutely no idea what you're selecting. From this screen you can load or save to the current levels.tab file that contains all the levels in the game, so be careful as it's very easy to end up overwriting all the original creations and ending up with empty levels. So double check that you are working from a backup, but this does mean that you can actually edit all the original levels quite easily. So with your level made and saved, just restart the game to see your creation come to life. It's probably a good thing that I didn't discover that level editor back in the day, or there's a good chance I would have overwritten the only game that my dad really enjoyed playing on the Amiga, and then I would have been in a lot of trouble. But until next time, I've been the Goldfish, that was a game with a lot of balls, and this was Goldfish on Games. Goodbye. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please swerve your Imperial around to hit the like and subscribe button, or you can fire me some plasma eggs into the comments to let me know what you thought.